Hiya, welcome to Darren in the studio. Thank you very much for taking the time to swing by and join us here in the studio for another video. This time, I'm sort of trying my very best to catch up on my decades. We've done 1973, we did 1983, we did 1993, we've done 2003, so that must mean it's time for 2013. Looking at albums that are celebrating their 10th birthday or have celebrated their 10th birthday this year in 2023. 10 albums here from my personal collection, which fit right into that category. And I have to tell you that choosing 10 was very, very difficult. I have the list here. I won't show you the list. This is the list. And it was so hard to even find 10 albums that were released in 2013. It must have been a bit of a drought year for releases, certainly for me anyway, in 2013, 10 years ago. But I've managed to get 10. They're all on CD. I don't think I've got any of these albums on vinyl. Yes, I have. I've got one of them on vinyl, but I haven't chosen that, and you'll know why when we get to it. So 10 albums celebrating their 10th birthday in 2023. Put the glasses on. The first album is by a guy who comes from not far from where I live. He lives in Nottingham, or used to live in Nottingham. Nottingham Way. This is a guy called Jake Bugg. This is Jake's second album. Came out 2013. This is Shangri-La. Of course, this came off the back of his debut album, which was self-titled, which included the big hit single Lightning Bolt. And this is a good album as well. I do like Jake Bugg. He tends to write from what he knows of his childhood and his youth growing up. I think this album was recorded in Nashville, if I'm not mistaken. Produced by Rick Rubin. This is on the, what label is this? I think this is on the Virgin label. It is the Virgin label. Jake Bugg, his second album, celebrating its 10th birthday in 2023. Next up, this is a freebie that I got on Classic Rock magazine, but it's their 2013 album. These are the Dead Daisies. My Kiss tribute act, Counterfeit Kiss, appeared on the same bill as the Dead Daisies a few years ago at the Rock and Blues Festival. I think this was their first album. I might be wrong, but I think this was their first album. It's not a bad record, this, but like I said, it's a freebie. Classic Rock magazine, certainly here in the UK, used to put out CDs every month that the magazine came out. They've stopped doing it now, which is a real shame, because I bought loads and loads of albums off of the back of the free CDs that came out, you know, the compilation CDs that used to be with them. And a lot of bands I've bought their albums off hearing tracks on these CDs. But every now and again they'd have a freebie CD of just one band. I've got a Blackberry Smoke one, a Rival Sons one as well, a Thunder one. They did quite a few freebie CDs of just one band, and this was issued in 2013. Somebody's probably going to tell me that this album came out like the year before or something like that, but it was certainly issued. The songs were certainly copyrighted and published in 2013. Dead Daisies celebrating 10 years. Next up, this is a CD which really should have been featured on my DIY video. If you haven't seen that, do check it out. It's basically a video of bands putting out their own product. because of course nowadays it's not that hard to put out your own albums on CD, cassettes, and on vinyl. But back in the day, it was quite a difficult thing to do. But nowadays, it's not that bad. This is a CD that I probably picked this up about 10 years ago as well. This is a band called the Diablos. This is an album called Riding the Long Road. I picked this up when I actually went to see them at a venue quite local to here. They're a UK country rock band, the Diablos. This is really, really well put together. Beautiful packaging. It's not on a label or anything like that. It's just, like I say, it's their own product, but it comes with a nice booklet with the band and some information and the tracks and stuff. The Diablos, Riding the Long Road, from 2013, celebrating its 10th birthday this year. If you get a chance to see the Diablos, they perform a mix of their own material and sort of classic country rock along the way as well. Some cover versions in there. But it's a good album. It's a really good album. I played a few songs on my radio programs from this album. Okay, another album celebrating 10 years this year. One of my favourite singer-songwriters is Steve Earle. This is Steve's 2013 album, The Low Highway. I think Steve Earle just continues to make great music. I don't think he's ever put out a disappointing album. I genuinely believe that. Celebrating 10 years this year, The Low Highway. This is out on the New West label. Calico County's great on here. After Mardi Gras, that's a great song as well. Pocket Full of Rain. 21st Century Blues. Remember Me. I think Remember Me is dedicated to his children. Steve Earle and the Dukes. The Low Highway. There's the band. I think Alison Mora's in this on this album. Yeah, this is Alison Mora here, who Steve married, and they recently divorced. Steve Earle's been married about 7 or 8 times, I think now. Celebrating 10 years this year. Steve Earle and the Dukes, and the Duchesses, and the Duchesses, it says on here, that's right. The Low Highway. Next up, I had to include this because this came out, was made available, if you like, 10 years ago. I used to do a little bit of Elvis tributing along the way, along with my Kiss tributes. But I gave up the Elvis tribute because there was just so many people doing it. And also, to be fair, plenty of people doing it better than I did. But I did enjoy doing it. We used to get lots and lots of gigs off of it. And I used to sell this CD at gigs. And it did quite well at shows. We very rarely came home with any. This is me, Darren Jackson. This album is called Spirit of the King. I made this 10 years ago. Came out 2013. I actually started recording it. It took me about 18 months to record this because I wanted to do it right. There's the back on the track listing. You might want to pause the video if you want to see what songs are on here. This last track here, Heartbreak Hotel, was recorded at the Ryman Auditorium, which is the original home of the Grand Ole Opry. Of course, the Grand Ole Opry has its own venue now just outside of the center of Nashville, but right in the middle of Nashville there's a place called the Ryman Auditorium, very famous music venue, and that's where I recorded the last track on this album, Heartbreak Hotel. The other tracks were pretty much just recorded at home in my own studio that I have. There's the CD. You can't buy this anymore. It's not in print anymore. I've not made any more of them. Maybe we should do a reissue, 10-year reissue. There's me at Graceland. You can see that. Also a picture of me at, this is taken at the Sun Studios, downtown Memphis. And this is taken at the RCA Studios in Nashville, Tennessee. Get a decent shot of that. Darren Jackson, Spirit of the King, me, my album that I did in 2013, 10 years old. Next up, the Kings of Leon. I think I've got everything of the Kings of Leon, and this is their 2013 album, Mechanical Bull. Good album. I do like a bit of the Kings of Leon, for sure. Nice little album. This is out on the RCA label. I think they've always been signed to RCA. There's the back. Celebrating 10 years this year. Mechanical Bull from the Kings of Leon. Another band that start with K, who are absolutely all over the press at the moment, because at this recording last night, they did their very final concert at Madison Square Gardens in New York City. Of course, I'm talking about Kiss. Now, a lot of people will be saying, "Oh, no, a minute, Darren, Kiss never put anything out in 2013. Well, they did, actually. Technically, they did. In 2012, they had an album out called Monster. And then it was reissued a year later with an extra track. And that extra track was called Right Here, Right Now. This is the 2013 Monster Tour edition of Kiss's Monster album. This version came out in 2013, 10 years ago. Produced by Paul Stanley, co-produced by Greg Collins. This is out on the Universal label through Kiss Records through Universal. I do have this album on vinyl. I was saying earlier on about the vinyl. I have this album on vinyl, but this is the reissue version, which I don't think came out on vinyl. I might be wrong. This came with a limited edition. Also, of course, it came with the extra track on it, but it also came with this limited edition poster, which is rather nice. Like I said, this album first came out a year earlier in 2012, and then they reissued it with an extra track, Right Here, Right Now, in 2013. So this is the reissued version, the tour edition of Kiss, a Monster. Next up, someone I really like. This is C6 Steve. This is his 2013 album, Hubcap Music. I do like me a bit of C6 Steve. I've got a few albums on C. I think I've got all of his albums. Sort of like half and half on CD and vinyl. Only got this one on CD. Hubcap Music, C6 Steve. I wouldn't mind going to see C6 Steve live. There's been some opportunities in recent years, but I've never really got around to sort of doing it. Nice little fold out lyric sheet inside. C6 Steve, 2013. Hubcap Music, celebrating 10 years in 2023. Next up, here's someone who made a bit of a comeback in 2023. Hadn't made an album for many, many years of original material. And then he came back with this, and it was a bit of a hit. He had some really good response from this album. This is Rod Stewart's Time album. Came out 10 years ago. No major hits on it, to be fair. but I played a few tracks from this album on my radio shows. This is on the Capitol label. There you go. I shot a Rod there. And this was the album where he said he was really scared to make another album because he didn't think he had it in him. And I think it was his wife, his family, sort of got him to write new material. And as far as I know, all the songs on here are brand new songs. Produced by Rod Stewart, co-produced by Kevin Selgar, or regret saying that now, aren't I? Yeah, on the Capitol label. 10 years. Rod Stewart, Time. Next up, last but certainly not least, you will have seen this on my roundup of November's purchases of 2023. But this album came out in 2013, celebrating 10 years of Rocky Shade's Wild Side Riot album. This was the album that brought Rocky Shades back into the rock scene. He'd been out of the scene for some time after leaving Rothschild, and he'd been in some sort of tribute bands and things like that. But this was his sort of comeback album with a new band. Some really solid songs on here. Rocky Shades' Wild Side Riot. Of course, Rocky Shades now, and I mentioned this on my roundup video, owns the rights to the name Rothschild and the original logo, and they're making new material. They got a new single, Back in the Freak Show, coming out very, very soon at this recording. Look out for that. Wild Side Riot, No Second Take is the album. It's out on the Cargo Records label. Unfortunately, it didn't do over much, which is a shame because I think it's a pretty solid rock record, and it quickly went out of print. But there was a bit of hype when it came out, and unfortunately, it didn't really do anything. And I think that was wrong because it's not a bad album at all. Rocky Shades, Wild Side Riot, No Second Take, celebrating 10 years this year. That's it. That's me 10 albums that I really struggled to find. But I think you'll find there's some nice little variety of stuff there. A lot of bands didn't put anything out in 2013. It must have been a bit of a quiet year for everybody. Anyway, we're going to try and do albums from this year very, very soon. Maybe that'll be my next video. Look at some albums that I bought this year, and I'm sure there'll be 10 of them. So I'm looking forward to doing that. Until we meet again here in the studio, look after yourselves, look after each other. Make sure that you leave your views and your comments at the bottom. Like, subscribe, hit the bell. You know the drill by now. Watch some of the other videos, and we'll see you again in the studio for another video. See you later, folks.